12 years ago, our next guest was asked by Marvel Comics to restart Stan Lee's Spider-Man series, and the result was Ultimate Spider-Man, a retelling of the story for the millennial generation from scratch, based on 1962's amazing fantasy number 15. Everybody knows that one, am I right? Oh, God, I love the part where the thing happened with the... The series was hugely successful, and Bendis has since written other Ultimate lines like Fantastic Four and X-Men, as well as an Avengers Assemble and Disassemble series. In 2010, he launched Scarlet, his first new creator-owned comic in over 10 years, and in 2011, he released Takin, an all-ages graphic novel he created with collaborator Mike Oeming and his daughter Olivia. And in April, the first episode of Ultimate Spider-Man, the television show, will air on Disney XD, written and produced by Bendis. Please welcome the very, very, very busy Brian Michael Bendis to Livewire.
Thank you. Hi.
Welcome to the show, Brian.
Hi. Thank you. Listen, I barely leave the house anymore, so when I do, I try to bring something a little special with me. So my dear friend Mike Avon Oeming, the Eisner Award-winning artist of Powers and Takin, is in town. He was helping me teach my class at Portland State yesterday. So I thought, let's bring him on stage and let him sketch while we're talking.
That sounds fantastic.
Mike?
Mike Oeming. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you very much.
We might have some questions for you later.
That'll cost extra.
It will. So, Brian, I just wanted to ask you, I think there may be some people out there who don't know necessarily about your history, and I know that you started drawing comics when you were 13 years old.
Oh, younger than that, yeah.
That you were just so driven in order to get into the comic book world. What was that drive? Where did that drive come from in you?
Well, I now that I'm older, I can look back on it and label it as madness. But at the time, it was just, you know, some people have it with music, some people have it with movies and books without pictures, but you read something and it just gets you and you go, I want to do that. Whatever this is, this thing that's happening, I like to do this exact thing. And you know, when you get to that age where you start going to the front of the book to look at the names of the people that brought it to you, and to me they were rock stars, and I go, that's what I want to do. And I declared it at age 6. I announced it at dinner. I held it up and I go, I will be the artist of Spider-Man. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, well, the amazing, thank you. The amazing part is I went to art school. I spent $60,000 on art school. Got out of art school. Marvel finally called me and said, what would you like to do if we brought you here? And I said, what do you need an artist for? And the editor-in-chief is a good friend of mine now, said, oh, your art's terrible. You know that, right? You're a writer. You don't know you're a writer? And I go, no, I knew that. And so they didn't, yeah, so I've been writing and having other much more talented people like Mike here draw what I write, and things took a wild shift to the positive once I stopped drawing. Yeah. Yeah.
It is interesting that you didn't know that you were a writer. Did you feel like the words were just sort of...
No, I was writing to draw, to have something to draw, and it was all storytelling, and I literally to this day can't really see the difference.
Yeah.
Like even when I'm writing, I will draw my own version of what I've written just to look at it to see if it's going to work on the page. So it's all writing. It's all storytelling. So, you know.
Yeah, visual storytelling.
Yeah, it's all visual storytelling, yeah.
And before you came to Marvel, you really considered yourself an alternative comic book artist. Can you talk about what that means?
It's a lot like the alternative music scene or the alternative film scene. You work every day, morning, noon, and night on something that you'll be lucky if you can get your friends to look at. And it's fine. Whatever. This is what I'm doing. So I made a handful of graphic novels, black and white crime novels for the most part, and set in my old hometown of Cleveland. And then I moved here to Portland, and I started writing more revolutionary, more about characters starting revolutions and stuff like that. So
Cleveland's quite a different town to write in, you know, and to write for. It's a lot
Yeah,
grittier.
and it's funny. I took a few years of me living in Portland before I understood Portland to write Portland, you know, and then I had my first box of Voodoo Donuts, and I totally understood it, and I was fine. So
That's all it took.
Yeah, that's all it took. So.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and when you were asked to do Ultimate Spider-Man, you actually started a partnership with Mark Bagley, and that lasted for 110 consecutive issues, which was, I think, the longest run of a Marvel team on one comic. Is that right?
You know, yeah, we beat Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's run on FF, Fantastic Four, by 7 issues. But to be fair, they did create the entirety of the Marvel Universe in theirs, where we just told a bunch of Spider-Man stories. So I think their record still holds on numerous levels. Yeah.
Well, what is it that makes a great partnership? You know, as a writer, you team up with an artist. Yeah. So what makes that what makes that team work well?
Mutual respect. I write towards the artist. Like, I write into their world. I don't try to go, here's the world according to me, now draw it. It's I look at, like Mike here, and he draws a very specific way, with very specific goals as an artist, and I study it, and I look to where his strengths are and where his weaknesses are, and I write into his world, and I always get something even more amazing back than I thought I was going to get. Like, if I do it right, and they feel that respect, they feel like it's written for them and nobody else. There's no one else who could draw this. And then you get something amazing comes back.
Do stories always, when there are teams working, do stories always begin with the words?
It can happen a bunch of different ways. You know, a lot of times an artist will come to you with, I drew this, but I have no story. This image is in my head, and that will inspire. And there's been times where I've come to Mike and I said, hey, what do you think of this? And let's do it. And that was Powers. And then Mike came to me just a few weeks ago with our next creator-owned book. And he goes, what do you think of this? And I'm like, we're in. So it could come from anywhere, and then you build it together, and it's a lot like raising a kid or birthing a baby. Just you're making it together, and you know, and just like birthing a baby, someone's doing a lot of hard work, and the other person thinks they're doing a lot of hard work, but they're really not. So we.
But they'll probably do a lot of work later.
Yeah. But it's the best thing in the world when it works. It's the most addictive, most awesome thing in the world. Absolutely.
Well, and you did something with Spider-Man this year that upset some people.
Yeah. We killed.
What was that?
We killed Peter Parker, and in a very emotional storyline, and then we replaced him with a new Spider-Man named Miles Morales, who is a multicultural descent, who is half African American, half Puerto Rican, and we just wanted to create a new Spider-Man for a new generation that represents a lot of things to a lot of people. And the whole time that I was writing Spider-Man, every reader of comics that I'd run into who wasn't white would tell me how Spider-Man was their favorite character. And because I could play him on Halloween, I could be him.
Sure.
He was anybody behind that costume. And even recently, someone had told me, you know, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Batman, and my friends wouldn't let me be because I didn't look like Batman. But I could be Spider-Man, and I realized I'd heard this story now 400 times. And so, yeah, let's do it. Let's make a Spider-Man that speaks to this thing that just happened. And we did it, and the next morning, Glenn Beck went on his crazy radio show and said that it was Michelle Obama's fault that we were doing this.
Of course.
I'm not, by the way, no joke. This is a quote. She had brainwashed us, and now look where we are. And he was so angry, and it was so borderline racist, and it was weird that...
Can you talk about how the brainwashing worked?
Well, see, that's the magic of the brainwashing. I don't know when she did it. So what was great was Glenn Beck went nuts, so then Keith Olbermann had to go nuts on him, and then Stephen Colbert had to go nuts on him, and then Jon Stewart did the thing. Then
you
Howard
whipped
Stern
up a
picked
media
it up.
frenzy is what you
Oh,
did.
it was beautiful, and now my kids get to go to college, and it's all because of Glenn Beck's crazy. It's great.
That's great. That's great. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Livewire, and we're talking to Brian Michael Bendis. It does seem you were just talking about killing off Peter Parker, and you've restarted Spider-Man. You're restarting the Avengers, aren't you?
But we're kind of reintroducing them in time for the awesome movie, which I've actually seen. It's pretty awesome.
And you like it?
Yeah, I work on the Marvel movies, so I'm a little biased, but I've seen this movie, and it's Joss Whedon at his best, and it's awesome. Yeah.
Well, and he's amazing.
Yeah, it's
well,
great.
and you've been brought in as a consultant on on the Ultimate Spider-Man. I read that you had been brought in as a consultant on Iron Man. What's your role when they bring you into these rooms?
It is the top of the nerd mountain. My whole life. My whole life has been about getting free comics and free movies, and I've done it. Now not only do I get to see them free, the whole point of seeing the Avengers before everyone is to tell you all that I saw it before you. I just wanted to tell you. That's really all I'm here to do. So
you don't even remember it.
No, but it's great. It's so great. I'm part of it's called a creative committee, and it's me and Joe Quesada and a few other people, and we get and we're given each draft of the scripts, and we read through them, and we make notes, and then we get together on the phone or in person, and we talk the talk of nerd and story, and it's all about story, and then we get together with the filmmakers, and we're there for them. And then I had this amazing year last year with Kenneth Branagh working on Thor, and he couldn't have been cooler.
Yeah.
And he acted out the whole movie of Thor for us in his Shakespearean. And it's just like 5 of us in the room, and he's acted out the whole movie with Shakespearean verve.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my friend Joe just goes, "Well, that was awesome."
I think your 6-year-old self knew how cool this job would be.
Yeah, exactly. We meet all these awesome filmmakers and storytellers, and I get to take whatever I'm learning in that area and just put it into my day job, my normal life. So it's pretty cool.
Well, what do you think it takes to make a great superhero movie, and who do you think has done it?
We've had quite a few. If you really think about how many movies truly suck, the fact that we've had so many good superhero ones is kind of startling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that they've all been good, Watchmen, but they're. I think both Batman movies are kind of great, and I think particularly the first Iron Man movie is kind of great. The second Spider-Man's kind of great, and you never know where they're going to come from.
Yeah.
Like you literally have no idea. You hear about them in the beginning of the summer. Any of them could be great or horrible, and it's fun to see what happens. But the overall ratio has been pretty.
If you could make
fantastic.
a film of any comic that you've written to date, what would that film be?
Well. All of them, but honestly, me and Mike spent the summer in Chicago filming the pilot to Powers for FX.
Yeah.
And that was a great experience.
With Katie Sackhoff.
No, not Katie Sackhoff. She's on another show on A&E.
Oh,
People wanted Katie Sackhoff. She was a fan favorite, but she was not available. It wasn't even a choice.
Okay.
Jason Patrick and Lucy Punch are in the pilot, and it was a great experience. It's very cool. And if you come to my house, you can see it. No, we're not picked up yet, but we're in the middle of making new scripts for the season, and keep our fingers crossed on that. But
and you're also working on scripts for the Ultimate Spider-Man.
That will be on the air
show.
Starting April 1st on Disney XD.
On Disney,
and
right.
that's a very cool writers' room. It's like an all-star writers' room of Paul Dini and the Men of Action guys who created Ben 10, and we just sit around and think of every Spider-Man joke we can think of, and we're...
Now, who runs that writer's room?
Jeff Loeb, who is a pretty well-known comic writer, but he's also the president of Marvel Television now, so he thought of putting a writer's room together like a normal television show would.
Yeah.
He worked on Heroes and Lost and everything, so he knew how to do it, so he put us all together, and it's been going really great. I wrote 3 episodes for the first season, and a couple coming in the second season, too.
It does feel like, and I do want to talk about Takio as well, which is another project that you're working on. It does feel like you're working on about 40 things at the same time. How do you do that? How does your creative well just continue to sort of feed the work?
I'm of the belief that your well fills when you're using it. Like if you don't use it, it's
deflates. Yeah.
I'm very lucky. These are very awesome gigs. These are very awesome people I'm working with. It's as low on the rung of show business that it is. It's show business, so you got to take your time when it's your time.
Yeah.
So, and if I didn't have the stories to tell, I wouldn't tell them, but I do, and the people to tell them with. So, and I get to do the mainstream stuff, which is an honor to write Spider-Man and the Avengers. It's really an honor. They also get to produce new things into the world, like Scarlet and Takio, and that's an honor, and I get to do them both at the same time, and that's how would I not take every opportunity that I could to do that? So.
Well, and Takio is new ground for you because it's an all-ages comic, and you created it with Mike Oeming and your daughter, Olivia, who's 8 now?
Well, she's 9 now.
She's 9
she
now?
was 7.5 when she pitched it. It was a grueling pitch process, but no, it was super cute. You know, being a writer, me and my wife were home all the time, like 24 hours a day. I work at home, we're home, so it's great. Except for every 6 weeks, for 2 days, I have to go somewhere. Either it's LA or New York, and we do these Marvel conferences where we all get together, and really, it's on a Algonquin round table of nerd like you've never seen. And so I came back from one of these 2-day trips to New York. I come back, and we're having a little daddy-daughter dinner, and she just got old enough to go, "Where do you go when you're not here?" And I said, "Well, to my other family." No, I said I said, well, we go to New York, and I go with, you know, she knows a lot of the people, like Matt Fraction lives here in Portland, and all these people, and we all go to Portland, and we all go to New York, and we pitch our stories, and she goes, "I have a story," and then she pitched the Chronicles of Narnia exactly, and I go, no, you need an original story, and she did the cutest thing I've ever seen her do. She tried to angle the story towards something I'd like. She goes, "How about Narnia with superheroes?" And I go, "Now, I appreciate that," but and then she said, "How about this?" And she pitched the story of 2 sisters, one of which was adopted. She has an adopted sister. They're getting on each other's nerves, and then they get superpowers. Mm-hmm. And they live in Portland, but they're the only superheroes. And here's their power set. And I'm like, this is good. And then I called Mike. I go, "Am I nuts, or is this good?" Then I looked up on the internet to make sure she wasn't stealing it from my Carly or something. And then he goes, "Yeah, I'm in. Let's do it." And so yeah, we have Portland's first superheroes right there in Takio, and it's starting up again from Marvel Comics in May.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
And we'll look forward to that.
Wow.
I did want to ask you, you spent some time with Stan Lee, the original
Yes.
Spider-Man creator. What's the most useful thing that you have learned from Stan Lee in these conversations that you've had with him?
Stan Lee is almost 90 and is so much smarter and focused than I am. It is startling. This guy is like I barely remember my name now, and I'm just it's amazing to see just the verve and excitement. And I'll tell you what I've learned is that no matter what's going on in the world, he is a pillar of enthusiasm and awesome excitement, and it's all about, you know what, this is fun, and let's have fun. And no matter what anyone says or does, that's what he represents, and it's been unwavering now for decades, and getting into centuries, and that's admirable.
Well,
so,
it seems like an absolute possibility for you. So
well, we'll see. And he was about my age when he started creating Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Hulk, all this in one giant burst of craziness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and we look forward to all of these projects and seeing how they come out. Brian Michael Bendis, everybody.
Thanks. Hey, can I say what?